Welcome back, everybody. Those of you who have followed my channel for a little bit know that I'm a painter in the auto body trade. I've been doing it for coming up on 5 years now. However, I haven't dipped my toes into the really heavy custom stuff yet. So in today's episode, I'm going to try that for the first time. I'm going to show you how I turn something like this into something like this. Let's get to it. To start off here, I give the skateboards a quick sand with 400 grit with my orbital sander, and then go around the edges with the red Scotch-Brite. Right here I'm masking off the back of the deck using some FBS fine line and then some thicker masking tape and paper. This isn't completely necessary, but I just wanted to keep it nice and clean on the backside. Alright guys, hopefully you can hear me here. I do have saran wrap on my phone to keep overspray off it. I'm going to be mixing up some Montana base coat here. I've actually never sprayed this before. Heard a lot of good things though. And this is mixed at a 1-to-1 ratio with their reducer. And this is just a straight black. It's General Motors 8555. And honestly, I have no idea how much I'm going to need here. Like I said, I've never sprayed it. I don't know what coverage is like. TDS calls for 2 to 3 coats. So we're going to expect that. So we're going to go just 1-to-1 here, the 5 to the 5. We're probably going to need a little more than this, but we can always remix. First pour is always the worst. It's the worst part about pouring off a base coat or anything out of a full can like this. Sometimes you win. This time I didn't. And I'm using the ratio numbers on this mixing cup to pour at that 1-to-1 ratio. I'll throw a link to these cups or similar ones down in the description. It will be an affiliate link, so it will help me out if you guys purchase from it. As well, I'll post a link to some of these filters here that I'm using. These you just run your paint through them. It just filters out any little chunks or little bits that you don't want in there that'll clog up your gun or potentially just get into your paint. And here I'm firing up the fans, getting that airflow going before I get spraying. Here we go, 1 and 2. And just checking my air pressure here. I tried to spray at about 26, 27 psi. The pressure on my compressor does drop really quickly, so it does change on the fly. And I'm not spraying super heavy with this Montana base coat. Like I said, it was my first time spraying it. It looks pretty glossy in that picture, but it wasn't a full wet coat. I'd describe it as more of a medium wet. And just hitting those edges too. I clipped through on the first deck there, but always make sure to spray your edges as well. And I didn't show a video of me tacking that first deck because I completely forgot to. I definitely jumped the gun there. There were a few dust nibs in it and 1 dog fur from my lovely Lab Husky mix. However, you'll see in the next clip that I did end up doing a quick denib with some 800 grit, which honestly wasn't even necessary with the amount of product I ended up spraying on this thing. Those small dust nibs and that 1 hair wouldn't have even been noticeable after finishing. And with pretty much full coverage after 2 coats there, it's time to move on to mixing some clear to mix our metal flake into. So here I'm using Durafil's C9500 clear. This is a fast clear, mixing it up at a 4-to-1 ratio with their H9501 hardener. They have a ton of different products on their website. They're for bang for buck. You can't really beat it. Recommend checking them out. They don't sponsor this, but I'm super happy with their products, so I'll throw a link to their website down in the description. And here I'm using Flake King metal flake, their show chrome metal flake, large size, 0.015 inch. And I purchased that from Maple Airbrush Supplies. Again, another awesome company, doesn't sponsor me. I'm going to throw a link to their website down in the description as well. They're super helpful. As you can see here, I just sort of keep mixing in more of that flake. I'm trying to look on my stir stick there to see what my coverage is going to look like. And I pour a bunch in here. I had like a pint of paint there, or a pint of clear, and I ended up putting in 50 grams of that metal flake. Next time around, I'm going to do things a little differently. I'm not going to spray it in clear. I'm definitely going to spray it in an intercoat or a clear base coat. All right, on to the actual spraying. This was a disaster and a half. I'm trying to spray it through my SATA 1.3 RP, my 3000 here. And I should do a little test spray there, and there's nothing coming out. Nothing at all. So what happened here is I poured my clear and flake into my gun, and I let it sit for a minute. I did a little more research after. This was a huge mistake. I didn't filter it, because you don't want to filter something with a flake this big. You're just going to catch all the flakes. So I switch over to my SATA 100 BP with a giant 2.5 mil tip. And still nothing coming out, and I was thinking maybe that's just how it is. Turns out my flakes were just clogged. They were sitting at the bottom of my gun there, and obviously they were not wanting to go anywhere. So I ended up just trying to spray, I realized if I shook the gun and just sort of held the trigger down and just kept blasting, it was coming out real slowly. You can see it sort of slowly coating that deck there. However, it got to a point where whatever clog was in there, it just broke through, and then I was able to spray quickly, spray cleanly, brought my gun right back, and I was able to hammer that flake right on there. I got 95% coverage, 99% coverage. Got most of my coverage in one good coat, and after that I was in good shape. So now you can see the product's flowing freely. I've got my gun back a little ways. I'm spraying quickly, constantly moving, constantly spraying. I didn't want to stop and run into the issue of all my flakes clogging up again, so I'm just trying to keep that gun moving, keeping it agitated. I think I'm spraying at about 20 psi here. Again, like I said, my pressure drops a lot on my air compressor, so it's hard to tell, but I just keep moving around, trying to hit those edges, getting full coverage on everything. I show at the very end, I didn't end up getting full coverage. There were some specks where you could see through to that black base coat, but at the end of the day, once I get all the graphics and everything on there, not going to be an issue. Here I'm just continuing to motor around, just slamming on the rest of the product in my gun. All the normal rules for painting kind of go out the window with custom work like this. However, you do have to sort of still follow some parameters. With our metal flake on there, it's time to mix up some clear and spray it on. So I ended up doing 3 coats of clear over the metal flake here. As you can see, I started at my edges, worked my way around, and then I end up hitting the tops of the panels. That's the way I prefer to do things, do my banding passes or edging passes first, and then hitting the face of the panels. If you guys do this yourselves, doing it at home, be sure to be safe. As you can see, I'm wearing a full paint suit, respirator, running fans in the my makeshift booth there, and even then there's still a lot of overspray in there. I just picked up a fresh air hood. I'll be running fresh air at home to be safer. You don't want to hurt your body doing this stuff. As well, this Durafil sprayed on 3 coats. Like I said, I give a little bit of a break in between each coat, extending the flash time between each coat, because too much product can result in solvent pop. So it's been a few hours now. My clear is mostly hardened up. I say mostly because it has been a little chilly out here. I've kept the heater on, but still it's like below 0 outside, so tough to keep it warm inside, but we're mostly hardened up here. Definitely dust free and easy to touch. I don't have 100% coverage, I noticed. See if I can catch it on video here. You notice there are a few little black voids in there. However, I think once we do some pinstriping on here, do a little airbrushing, I don't think that'll be too noticeable. Overall, I'm super happy with how it turned out. There were a few hiccups along the way, but for my first time spraying a heavy flake like this, I'm more than happy. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Unfortunately now, it looks like I've been partying with too many cheap strippers. Oh well, that's next week's problem.